Hey guys, it's Sean once again, and I'm going to talk about day number 3 for the Gunsite Pistol 250 course. So a couple of observations that I made today is that I've seen quite a number of 1911s being carried at the training facility, and it seems like whenever there's some type of stoppage, there is most of the time a 1911 that's involved. 1911 pistol. Okay, I'm not saying that they're bad guns at all. I have a 20,011 pistol, and this is basically the high capacity version, the double stack version of a 1911 in 9mm. Okay, this is a Staccato P DUO that I have here. This is very similar to the mechanics and functionality of a 1911. What we've been noticing is we've had a lot of failure to eject with the 1911s that we're seeing right now. Again, I'm not saying that they're bad guns. It just seems like they need to be tuned up. One guy in class said that he took another 250 course about 10 years ago. The instructor said, hey, raise your hand if you have a 1911 that you paid over $2,500. Well, actually, just raise your hand if you paid over $2,500 in a gun. Most of the time, if you paid over $2,500 per gun, more than likely you probably bought a 1911. Maybe you bought an Agency Arms or something that's very similar. Maybe you bought a Wilson Combat upgraded handgun. Okay, but most of the time it's a 1911. So one student raised their hand in class and said, "Well, I have one." Instructor said, "Hey, by the end of the day, that gun's going to fail." What make and model is it? Well, it's a Nighthawk. He said, well, in that case, it's not going to fail, because a Nighthawk, if you don't know already, it's hand-built by a gunsmith. Hand-built, not on a production line. Okay. Another observation, oh, by the way, if you're having problems with a 1911, there's custom work that you could do. Go to a gunsmith. There's just some fine-tuning that you can do. I am not a gunsmith. I'm not an armor. I'm not somebody that knows how to work on guns, but I was able to adjust my extractor. You bend it a little bit to increase more tension, and I brought it to the gunsmith, and he said that that's the most tension that you can get with that gun, the way you have it, and it's fine. He tested it out. It ejected 3 feet to the right, to the rear a tiny bit. He said it's fine, not a problem. Take it back to me if you have any problems the next day. Take a picture of it as well. And today, this is the Wednesday, I shot more or less about 150 rounds and no stoppages at all. So whatever I did seems to be working, and you probably have to do the same thing with other 1911s. And this gunsmith said the same thing. Okay, they're not bad guns. They have excellent triggers. They're still excellent guns. Sometimes they need some fine tuning. So that's the observation that I made in class. Okay. Today we got back our pictures. We do take a class photo on day 2, and then day 3 we get it emailed to us. So that's pretty neat to be able to reflect on that class photo. We had a combat mindset course, and what I really like is Colonel Jeff Cooper. They did a video on him, years before he passed away. And this is his mindset video to get you into the proper mindset that you need in order to win the fight. Okay, remember, at Gunsite, the triad, okay, it's a triangle of 3 elements that makes you a successful gunsighter. That's practical gun handling. Okay, that's the mindset, and the third one is the marksmanship. Okay, practical marksmanship. That's the triad. Okay, put all 3 in a triangle, and this makes the better shooter, the better, not necessarily better shooter, but the more defensive shooter. This is the goal of Gunsite. And I also want you to keep in mind that I am not a Gunsite instructor. I don't work for them. I'm not endorsed by them. And everything that I present in this video, it's just a reflection. It's a vlog. It's a reflection of the day as the way I saw it. And I'm going to show you some drills that I experienced. And as a disclaimer, I could be doing them wrong. I'm not a Gunsite instructor. This is just how I perceive my training, and I'm just showing it. I'm just showing it to you. Okay, and that's all I'm doing. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the requirements for Gunsite, their objectives. This is their standards, and Gunsite have some strict standards for the Gunsite Pistol 250 course. Okay, the targets. There's some miniature human being looking person, in camouflaged. Okay, it's camouflaged, and the area you have to hit, it's the area right here in the face, but it's a small box. Okay, and then below that is a gumdrop of the upper torso area. These are the vital organs. Okay, this target is puny. It's small. It's not like the NRA target. Okay, this is their standard though. They want it in this camouflage pattern because in a real situation, people don't walk around with a target or a nice circle on their chest or on their back. Well, some people do. Okay, so there's some shirts that have that, but majority of shirts you don't have a big red dot that says "shoot me" here. So that's their rationale for that. Now, the box on top, okay, that small little puny square, that is 5 points. Okay, you get in there, 5 points on a particular drill, it score you that way. Now, upper chest area, and it's again a small little box. Okay, that's 5 points as well. If you hit a line, then that counts as inside the box. Everything outside of the box, but still on target on that camouflage pattern, is worth 2 points. And their standards drill, you're going to fire a total of 10 rounds. And I'm going to discuss them right now, what they are. And by the way, the targets, they're sideways, right? And they're on some type of air compressed system. With the flicker of a switch, they'll face you, and then you have the longest time you're going to have is 3.5 seconds, but the shortest time you'll have is 1.5 seconds to fire in those scoring zones. They're really combat effective zones. These are the zones where you hit in order for the person to stop threatening your life. Okay, like I said, this is a difficult standard. You'll know if you hit the target sideways. There's a lot of students who were hitting it sideways, including me. I screwed that one up too. So when you run out of time, the target flips back the other way and just shows you the sides. And because of perception and reaction, it almost looks like the bullet did some type of Matrix movie, okay, and just went over here and sliced your target in half. No, it didn't slice your target in half. You basically ran out of time, and it went straight through and it hit the sides. Okay, so listen carefully. This is the Gunsite standards. Now, if you're a competitive shooter, you're a defensive shooter, if you're even an instructor, okay, try to meet these standards. These are tough ones. Okay, 3 yards, single headshot, 1.5 seconds. You're gonna do it 2 times for a total of 10 points. So it's that small little box. Okay, 3 yards. A single headshot, 1.5 seconds. You're going to do 2 times, 10 points total. Okay. Second one is 5 yards. At a distance of 5 yards, you're going to fire 2 rounds to the body. Okay, this area, that small little box, you get 1.5 seconds, and you get 10 points. Then you back up to 7 yards. You're going to fire 2 rounds to the body, 1.5 seconds only, and you get 10 points. You're going to back up to 10 yards. 2 rounds to the body, okay? 2 seconds for a total of 10 points. And then you're going to go all the way to the back. At 15 yards, you're going to fire 2 rounds to the body, okay? Standing to kneeling, 3.5 seconds. And that's 10 points. So you have 3.5 seconds to get to this position, okay? And then you're gonna kneel like this, and then click. Okay. The rationale for this is maybe you're working in a club or a bar, or you're somewhere with your family in a busy restaurant and there's people all over the place, by taking this upward angle shot, there's less of a chance of collateral damage if you're facing your opponent at an upward angle just like this. Okay, the rounds will go up instead of perhaps passing through somebody. Okay, so you have 3.5 seconds to get to this knee position and then fire in that small, puny little box up there at 15 yards. Okay. The other standard that's discussed here is called the El Presidente par time. It's a 10-second drill and it's 60 points possible. We haven't even went to that drill yet, but we will soon. Now, just to show you how difficult this portion of the course was to me, you have the targets flipping towards you, facing you. My score, okay, the first time around was 27 points out of 50. Okay, 27 out of 50 points. Next time around, I did worse. I did 21 points. And then the last time around, 9 points. Okay, so there's some self-improvement on my part. I need to do a lot better. I was talking to some other students and they did very much similar to me. So I don't know, they're trying to push this strict standard because they feel it necessary, or maybe this is a tough standard that Gunsite implements. I really don't know. I believe, reading everything, it's one of those courses where everybody passes. But if you want to, you can get graded different scores. So there's a regular honorable mention that you can get. There's a marksmanship. There's also a marksmanship 1, and then after that is an expert. Okay, and they combine the way that the instructors observe you on the range. Okay, doing these drills, and then we're going to do the shoot house, and then there's a ravine or some type of flood channel that we go into, and then we engage in targets there. The shoot house or the fun house, they call it. I think they call it the Donga house. It's pretty neat. If you go on top, you could see everything that's going on bottom. They're not going to let you on top when everybody's shooting because they mentioned that somebody actually got shot. Okay, it was an officer got shot. Yep. His partner was filming him, and he thought he was a bad guy, and he ended up shooting him with frangible ammunition. That's why you need. This is really irrelevant, but you need 50 rounds of frangible ammunition, and that's because the bullet tends to expand better and disintegrate a little bit more, and penetrate less with these big blocks that they have. I think they're called bullet catchers or something. I don't know the correct term, but they have that. So they just did a walkthrough today. This is day 3. That's all it is just a simple walkthrough of the fun house and then the ravine, and that's all I could think of right now. I'm really disappointed in myself, and I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to practice drawing. I do have it. It's not really an excuse in a way. It's maybe it is, but I'm the only one that has a level 2 retention holster. Okay, so basically I have to deactivate the hood or release the hood, okay, and then press the gun up, and then I have to take the safety off. That takes a little bit of time. If I wanted to, I could undo the hood, or I could release the hood and keep the safety off, and I could be a little bit more faster, but my standard is going to be surviving a self-defense situation. Okay, that's going to be my standard, and I want to be able to survive. I'm going to train like I fight. Okay, if I just have the hood down of my holster and I have the safety off, that's not really the safest way to carry a 19 level style gun. But if I carry it that way while I'm on duty, I'm not necessarily training like I would have to fight one day. So really, I know I can get a little bit faster time, maybe, but I'm going to keep training. And I end up getting first place on day 2 and a challenge coin. I won the steel challenge, and I didn't do anything. I did everything like I trained to fight. The hood was activated, the safety was off, and I was still able to win the challenge. So this is a turn and shoot drill that we went over, and I'm not going to go over the whole entire drills, but I just want to give you a summary on what we were trained to do, what the training involved today. So let's just say that you hear some noise or something that's unknown to you, it startles you a little bit. This is what they recommended, and we have to do live fire session on this. But before we did that, we practiced the dry fire, practice without the gun out of the holster, just for safety reasons, okay? Also, if you can't hear me that well, I apologize. I have to take the microphone out, actually, in order to do some of these movements here. So the first thing that you're gonna actually do is look to see what the hell's going on. And what you're doing is you're putting your hands up like this, okay? And that's just in case you need to block a punch or some type of, somebody is attacking you with some type of weapon. You'll have some measure to block, because most likely if they just walk up to you and just do an ambush behind you, a blitz attack, and punch you, you're gonna get probably hit. But if you instantly do this, intuitively just do this, you might end up blocking something. So you're gonna turn around like this, and then you're gonna take one step that way, okay, like this, and then you're gonna turn like this, but keep your hands up like this, and then you're gonna do the 5-step draw again, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And then we did it the other way as well. This position is the least favorite out of all the drills, and I am 40 years old. I'm not as flexible as I once was when I was 2 years old or 5 years old, and that's why I don't really like this drill. But there is some utility to that, and I will explain it very shortly. What you want to do from this position, and what they're going to do is they're going to have the target face you, and then you're going to have to react. So you're going to use still the 5-count method, about 5-count draw. So that's 1, okay? Oh, let me start all over. Okay, this wasn't snapped. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. The next step is to go to the knees, and we're going to do it just like this. Okay, so you still have your muzzle pointed downward range, right at the target, okay? So what you want to do is have this knee about a 90-degree angle with your rest of your foot, okay? And the reason why you want to do that is so that there isn't so much tension here on your knee, especially when you get up, okay? For your right knee, or your right leg, I know you can't see it, but maybe if I get up, you want to rest on the ball of your feet, okay? And that way, you can get up, a lot faster if you need to, okay? You can just spring back into action if you need to. But this is my least favorite drill. And then there's a double knee one. Again, this isn't too pleasant if you're not as flexible and your body isn't the same when you were 5 years old or 4 years old. So that's why it's my least favorite. And then from this position, they're having us take 2 shots center mass in that small little target zone. And you will not holster from this position. You're going to actually holster when you go back up, okay? You go back up, you holster, and the reason why you don't want to do that, and this gun is already unloaded, there's nothing live in here. If you do it from this position, there's a potential that you might flag your leg, meaning you might point the muzzle at a body part that you do not intend to shoot, okay, or destroy, okay? Now, it's very possible that you can do it safely, but you have to be very very careful. It's not recommended. And then on the firing line, if there's somebody behind you, okay, when you're putting this back into here, there's that potential for you muzzling the person that's in back of you. So that's why they only want you to holster it on the up. Now, what I do like about this position is that, let's just say that you're in a club, a bar, a restaurant, you're somewhere with your family or maybe your friends or yourself, and there's some type of conflict, and it's an armed conflict. It calls for deadly force. If you just fire straight, okay, in a flat plane, you might end up hitting what you need to, but then that bullet might exit and then hit somebody else. And I don't care if it's a hollow point, full metal jacket, even a hollow point could potentially pass through somebody. Okay, especially with some of the ammunition designs that are out there, even the best ammunition designs, hollow point could definitely go right past you, or right past the intended target, and then hit somebody else. And there's so much potential for collateral damage. But when you're at this angle, and it's almost like a 45-degree angle, you're shooting upwards, and there's less collateral damage. There's less of a chance that you're going to hit somebody around you if you're angled. And again, this is meant for an area where there is a lot of people just congregated, okay? So this is my overall assessment of day 3 of the Pistol 250 course. The mindset presentation was awesome. The only thing that I didn't like at a particular time was when one of the instructors, and the instructors have different backgrounds. Some are law enforcement, some are military. This gentleman particularly had or has a military background, a very honorable and distinctive specialized military background. But he did mention that in a self-defense situation, you can get away with shooting one person in the back, because what we found during these drills is that some of the targets were impacted by the sides, okay, side impact. They face you and they turn the sides, and then they end up hitting the side. Well, that could be somebody's back or somebody's sides. He mentioned one hit, you should be fine. 2 hits, maybe, but no more than 2. But anything over that, you can definitely be convicted, or I think he said charged with murder, manslaughter. Yes, you could definitely be charged with anything that the district attorney wants to charge you with, but I highly disagreed. And I didn't raise my hand and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to disagree with you, because as a fellow instructor, I'm humbled, number 1, to be there. Number 2, you don't want to criticize or critique a fellow instructor or another instructor in front of everybody else. That's just not what we do. And he didn't ask for any criticisms, anything constructive. They didn't say that in the beginning of the class, so I was just hoping that somebody said something. So one of the other instructors, who is former Arizona Police Department in Arizona, the SWAT team, and he was on the use of force panel for the Arizona Peace Officers Board. He mentioned, well, you could shoot 3, 4, or maybe more than that times in the back, because it's all about perception. You have a perception gap of time and a reaction time. That's why police officers, even security, how when presented with the threat in front of them, how after the weapon is discharged, the officer's weapon is discharged, how you can definitely see impacted rounds in the back or the sides because of the whole perception reaction time. Somebody presents a deadly weapon to you, okay, you have to perceive it and then you have to react, and that could take some time. I've done some calculations. I think it's 0.75 perception and another 0.75 reaction, obviously depending on how well trained you are. I mean, that's at least a second, okay, well, almost a second and a half. So that's something that I disagreed with the first instructor, but I didn't make it known. Okay, I'm humbled to be there, but another instructor corrected him. And what I like is he asked the other instructor, well, what do you think? You know, you're a use of force expert, what do you think? And he gave his opinion. So I highly value the instructor that had the military experience for asking somebody that was on a use of force panel. That's how instructors, how they should convey information. That's how they should problem solve when they're stuck on an issue when they're presenting. That's perfect. I love it, and that's why I'm going to keep coming to Gunsite. Now, another issue out here in Gunsite, it was windy. Okay, bring some Vaseline, some chapstick, because your lips are going to get chapped. you notice I'm wearing a facial covering. Okay, maybe not necessarily for social distancing or to protect myself from coronavirus, but it protects yourself from the dust. Okay, it protects yourself also from your lips from becoming chapped because of the wind. I mean, this actually does a significant job blocking the wind, especially right now in Paulden, Arizona. As I film this, we're in late April of 2021, and it was windy. Targets are flying all over the place, but the instructors made it happen, which is great. As for your ear protection, you guys, at this time, usually the second day of a full day of training, I'll swap out my batteries, and these are AA batteries. You want to have electronic ear protection so that you can hear the instructor give the commands and you can hear what's going on. But if you just have your ears plugged up with some type of like hearing loss protection or some foam inserts, okay, you might not be able to hear the commands. Now, unfortunately, this thing will shut off with a lot of wind, but I was still able to hear the instructor. And I can't explain what you'll hear and when it blocks off. You have to have experience wearing electronic ear protection to know what I'm talking about. I also recommend that you bring some foam ear protection with you. Just throw it in your pocket. You could get them very cheaply at the store. That's just in case you forget these. I always have a pair in my car, just in case a round needs to be discharged. Actually, yesterday when I went to the gunsmith, they discharged a round, and luckily I was able. He asked me where my ear protection's at, and it was far away in my car. But luckily, I always carry the foam inserts. It's just in case you forget these. Okay. So batteries. Okay, second day I changed the batteries out. If you don't bring new batteries or a clean set, it's going to go out, and you're going to lose the value of training. Glasses. These are not my shooting glasses. These are my regular prescription glasses. But you can get Oakley's, Wiley X's, and they have some form of ballistic protection or some type of safety glass rating on it. Because if you don't have them and you're doing the simulators, it's very possible that shrapnel could come back and hit you. Okay, I was hit with a small little sharp piece of shrapnel. I mean, it didn't hurt. I just felt like a flicker on my hand, and then my hand was bleeding a little bit. That could have been my eye. So you want to have some ballistic, well, not safety glass rated prescription glasses. If you need a prescription, okay, and I obviously need a prescription. If you don't, and these cost, not these ones, but the ones that I use cost about $400 to $500. They're Wiley X's. I think they're called Saint, the Saint or something. If you watch American Sniper, that's the same pair of glasses that he used when he took the shot on the younger, I think the ISIS fighter or one of the terrorists, the teenage kid on that scene. Same one he used. But if you don't need a prescription, it's so much cheaper. Good $100, $150 will get you a military grade eye covering, okay, to protect your eyes. It's an investment, okay? How much do you value your eyes? Okay, I think $100, $200 is worth it. I mean, you don't want to go blind. I've been to a significant number of courses, and when you keep going to a lot of courses, there's a greater chance of splatter, splashback coming from the steel targets. And tomorrow, day 5, we're going to be shooting steel. So even with frangible ammunition, something still comes back. Okay, it may not. The chance of you getting impact in the eye are very rare, but it's happened. Okay, another class, Red Dot Instructor School. I went to. One of the students got hit right here with a little bit of shrapnel. Imagine that was his eye. And then last but not least, gloves. Okay. On this day, the web of my hand is extremely raw. I'm sure you can't see it, but I can definitely feel it. Some other students, especially some older ones, their hands are so fray that they're having a lot of tenderness here, and just the friction of you grasping this, the gun, and the way that you're supposed to grab a gun and the way they teach you at Gunsite is to have that firm handshake. And this is probably like double strength of a handshake that you would normally give somebody a handshake, and usually a male or even a female that's really strong. I mean, it's more than a firm handshake, and then they shake your hand on the line and they show you how much pressure, and geez, it feels like maybe 2 or 3 times the strength of a firm handshake, but it wears on your fingers. Okay, so my recommendation is to wear or to bring a pair of gloves. These are mechanics gloves that I shoot with. Okay, even when you're on duty as a private security officer or law enforcement, you know, whenever you're out and about, okay, it's not a bad idea, especially when it's cold. Not a bad idea to wear gloves. So what I do is I cut out the trigger finger portion here. Okay. And this saves me. Okay, this will definitely save your skin. Okay, all that wear and tear on your hand definitely does not feel good. But what I like about this cutout, look at my finger could still rest flat on the trigger, and I do have a little bit of glove, but I do not believe that it impedes me as a shooter. Definitely consult with Gunsite instructors, see what they recommend. But my recommendation is, hey, you know what? You're gonna have more enjoyable experience, more comfortable experience when you have a pair of gloves, especially day 3. Some guys need it at day 2 or towards the end of day 1. We shoot 1,000 rounds. Okay, the round count's 1,000. If you haven't shot that much, stand by, because your hands are not gonna feel good. They're gonna feel raw towards the end of the day. So I hope you like this video. Comment if you have any questions. I can't wait to tell you what happens on day number 4. Okay, that's day 4, shoot house, fun house, they call it. It's gonna be an exciting day, and I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to telling you about it. So you guys all take care and be safe.